Hi everyone, it's Jack from Jack's English, and today we're talking about vocabulary. In particular, 5 strategies to help you increase your vocabulary effectively. Increasing vocabulary is a big concern of many of my students. Actually, I've had a lot of people on here requesting this particular video. But you have to do it effectively. You can't just pile vocabulary into your brain, it won't stick. So I'm going to give you 5 strategies to help you. Here are the 5 we're going to look at. Some of these strategies may be familiar to you, but others may be the key to helping you increase your vocabulary and actually use it in conversation. So let's stop wasting time and get straight into my first strategy for increasing your vocabulary effectively. The first one is an obvious one, and that is to increase your input. I always say this to you, but it's really important, and that's why it's number 1 on this list. This is where you need to start. Now, I want you to start by listening to podcasts. I've mentioned this many times. You know I have my own podcast that I did with Luke. There's still all of those podcasts available, and they teach you around 10 or 15 words every podcast. So that's a great way to start. Another great podcast is Culips. Now, I have no connection to Culips. They don't pay me to mention this, but I think it's a wonderful resource for students. I'll put a link in the description so that you can go directly there. They have great podcasts, hundreds and hundreds that you can listen to, and they also give a list of vocabulary that will appear in the podcast. So that's another place to get started with your listening. Another thing I'd like you to do is to increase your reading. One of the best ways you can do this is through the news. Of course, you can read the news every day. But I know the news can be a very difficult resource to use. Now again, I'm going to give you another link because I want to help you, but I have no connection to this at all. The website is called Engu. Engu has a daily news section where they have simplified the news and they give you the vocabulary and even some discussion points. This is a wonderful resource and people don't know about it. So again, I'll link this in the description and you can start using this in your daily study routine. My second strategy is actually one of the most important on this list, and it's a smart study agenda. When you approach vocabulary from now on, I want you to divide all vocabulary into 3 categories. Number 1, vocabulary you know and use. Number 2, vocabulary you know but don't use. Category number 3, vocabulary you don't know. This is really important because obviously category 1, we just leave it alone. That's great. This is the stuff you know. But category 2 and 3, you must distinguish. Most of my students focus on category 3, which is the vocabulary they don't know. So they are searching and searching for more vocabulary that they don't know, and then when they study that, then they search for more vocabulary. And slowly you're building this huge amount of vocabulary in your head, but you're not using it. Now, I'm sure that some of you are the same. You have all this vocabulary you can recognize, but it doesn't come out. You're not using it in conversation. So, from now on, I want you to distinguish which words are in category 3 and which words are in category 2. Then, I want you to divide your study. Sometimes I want you to focus on category 2, the words you know but you don't actually use. This way, you'll have some time where you're really focusing on expanding the vocabulary you're using in conversation. Then, on other days, focus on category 3. Expand your knowledge, read those articles, listen to the podcasts, and then you'll be expanding the vocabulary you can recognize when you're reading or listening. So that's my second tip. Divide all the vocabulary into 3 categories and use that to plan your study. My third strategy is the word bank. Now, you have heard me talk about this before. In fact, I did a big video on this about 2 months ago. So, I don't want to waste your time now. If you're interested in what the word bank is, how to use it, and using my structure for the word bank, then check out the video. I'll link it below and then you can check that out and add that to your study routine. Just to summarize what the word bank is, this is just a way of storing the words that you are studying. This can be category 2 or category 3 that I mentioned in the previous strategy. The word bank helps you put words into specific topics and then gives you a strategy to help you memorize the word and be able to recall it in the future. Strategy number 4 is a bit of fun, and this is actually focusing on category 3 of our Smart Study agenda. This is having a word of the day. Word of the day is simply picking one word and trying to add it to your vocabulary. You can do this on so many internet dictionaries, for example, dictionary.com or Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Simply go onto their word of the day, they update it every day, and study that word. Try to use it, make it a challenge to use in conversation that day. This is just a bit of fun, but of course, this will help build that category 3 vocabulary. So let me start you off with your first word of the day. Today's word of the day is assiduous. Assiduous. This means hard working and showing great care. I am always happy to meet an assiduous student. My final strategy to increase your vocabulary effectively is to plan your speaking. Now this sounds very simple, but a lot of my students don't actually do this. What I want you to do is before some situation, it could be a real life situation or it could be a class, plan the words you're going to try to use or you can use in that situation. This is where your word bank can come in useful. You can go to the topic that you're going to use and actually bring that out and plan the vocabulary you're going to try and add to your speaking. This, of course, is focused on category 2 of our Smart Study agenda. We're trying to add words to our actual speaking, the words we can use. Of course, this doesn't always work. We're very often in situations where we can't plan. But I think that this is a good habit. So for example, if I'm going to visit the tax office, as I did today, I have to make a list of 5 to 10 words that could come up in that situation, words related to tax. And of course, if you're joining a group study and you know the topic of the day, absolutely make a list of 5 to 10 words that you can use in that group study and make an effort to use them. So that's my 5 strategies to increase your vocabulary effectively. Now, if you're going to take one thing out of this video, I would say focus on the Smart Study agenda. I think this is really important for students who want to plan the type of input they're going to get and make sure they're using their time effectively and so that they'll be able to actually use it in their speaking in the future. So give it a go and let me know how you do. Of course, this is a good opportunity for you to start using vocabulary here. Give me your examples below. Perhaps you could even try using your new word, assiduous. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I truly hope it helps. If it helped you, please like, and if you haven't already, subscribe below and join me in my future lessons. I hope you have a fantastic week this week, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.